Hello guys, I am back from another review and today we're talking about Deku took Bakugou's advice. So I'm not gonna say what happened last time because well I tried doing this and it was going pretty good until I accidentally pressed the stop button. Uh, it was taking a few minutes to do that, but you know how much brain time I had to do that. So yeah, I'm not gonna tell you what happened last time. You had to watch well last video to watch to watch this video. Just basically just watch the video last time, like last episode of this series, and then come back here. So yeah, let's start the video then. So this is going to be in the perspective of a different character. You probably know her. Her name is Melissa. So and this time Melissa is getting ready for her first day at UA because she actually made an artificial quirk of somewhat. What do I mean by that? Well, this artificial quirk is basically nanotech. She's able to basically create these nanobot type creatures which she calls, well, nanos, or whatever you want to call them. They're basically what those little robots that you would see in like Big Hero 6 are. Just imagine those. I can't remember the name of those because I never seen this like the movie for a long time. So just imagine them as that. So yeah, she connected a special controller to her bloodstream, which she's able to control them with super ease. Like seriously, she's able to control them as easily as like a waterbender. She's basically waterbending, but except with robots. That's basically what she's able to do. So, her first day at UA was pretty nice until she saw Bakugou. Bakugou started bullying her because she's quirkless, but most of the students defended her. She was pretty happy about that, but still not happy about Bakugou being in, UA. Mostly because, Bakugou was the reason why Izuku committed suicide. And you're wondering, why is Bakugou still here? I thought he was serving jail time for, looking like he killed Izuku. Well, the reason why, because he's, a really powerful quirk user. So, they decide to try and free Bakugo by, pulling some strings. So UA basically pulled some strings, and now Bakugo's in UA. So, yeah. Well, when Melissa was told of that by the principal, basically Nezu, she was unhappy because she wanted to make Bakugo pay for what, well, he did towards Izuku. The reason why she's angry about that because, you know how like Melissa was like following and sometimes pestering Izuku. The reason why, she's in love with Izuku. But unfortunately, Izuku is currently, um, having some fun times with, three other girls, specifically the daughters of Loki. Yeah, so when she finds out, she's probably not going to be happy. I'm taking a bet that she's going to become a yandere. And that's just, a, well, a somewhat, special trait I'm gonna give her very soon when Izuku's about to invade, Midgard. So, yeah. Wait for a second. So, the first day comes up, and the first thing that they're gonna be starting off in this first day of UA is the, quirk assessment test. Because Melissa doesn't technically have a quirk, and more or less uses a quirk type, power, they decide to give her her own test, which Bakugo protested, saying that she should do, what the usual, kids would do. And some of his goons, mostly some that are mostly girls, and two were boys, say that they should, agree, but most of the class says no. So, yeah, Bakugo, well, lost by a landslide, basically. So, the next thing is basically Bakugo starts winning the entire, well, quirk assessment test, as it's Melissa's turn. Melissa finishes it with fine colors, even creating a little bit of a statue for Aizawa as a bit of a compliment. I meant compliment. Aizawa was flattered, but mostly gave her the same, well, grade as everybody else. But with a, well, a dollop of, well, how do I say it? Like, interest. Not interest, more like, well, giving her like another A plus for, well, flattering him, I guess. So, yeah, that was basically the end of school, as it's the next day where they're gonna be doing the, well, heroes versus villain test. Well, she was, well, excited because, well, she's gonna be fighting Bakugo. Bakugo was basically, she's, I meant, he is basically jumping around, saying that he's going to beat on her pretty hard. Seeing some, how do I say it, some, like, let's say some pretty, raunchy names towards her. Let's just say that for now. She was paired up with Ochako. Ochako was pretty friendly towards her because, well, she has a pretty like a pretty weak quirk compared to hers. Her quirk was a gravity quirk. Even though it seems powerful, it's not really, no, well, good, well, for her. Because, well, of her, well, sickness. Specifically, her, well, motion sickness. So, yeah, everybody was wearing their costumes at the time, as it's Melissa, well, turn. Melissa's hero costume looks like a, just imagine like Tron costumes, basically like from Tron something. I can't remember the name. And she's also wearing under it, like not under it, I meant over it. She's basically wearing a jacket, specifically like a detective's jacket that you would see in like movies, like noir movies. She also wielded a special gun, which, well, the gun is able to shoot out nanobot, well, bullets that contain nanobots that can explode and turn into basically spikes. Or even traps if she wants to. She just needs to think of it. So, yeah. She's going to be fighting against Bakugo versus, like, Bakugo and, Ida, not versus. Anyway, so, they started going into the building and they started getting attacked by Bakugo instantly. By the way, it's just like in canon, Bakugo's basically the villain this time. Like, just like in canon. So, Bakugo starts charging towards, well, Melissa, as Melissa dodges it, like instantly. As she starts creating, well, two swords from the nanobots. The nanobots basically almost slice Bakugo's arm off. Bakugo said this, "Why, you... Shut up, you quirkless bitch!" She starts dodging it more, as Bakugo said this, "I said just die!" So, when she dodges more, well, Bakugo starts getting even more angry. That's the point. That, well, wait for a second. That's the point that, well, Melissa's basically, well, doing. She wants to make Bakugo angry to show how horrible of a person he really is. And the person that's basically teaching the class this time is All Might. All Might knows about Bakugo's temperament and, well, what happened. And after telling, well, All Might about, well, Izuku's bullying, well, Izuku, not really Izuku, more like, All Might was pretty mad about that. So, the reason why he decided to pair them up, well, so he could let, well, Melissa do whatever she wants with him, specifically beating him down to the point that he can't move anymore. So, yeah. So, after Melissa, dodges all of his attacks, she decides to bring out the gun and creates a large cage. After the cage was set, Baku starts screaming out profanities that even a sailor wouldn't ever do. Like, seriously. After that whole, thing, she starts going up and goes to the room where the bomb is. So, Ida starts charging towards her, but thanks to, Ochako's, great thinking, she basically turns him immobile, basically useless. So, yeah. So, after, Ochako does that, Melissa touches the bomb and they win. So, after, a while of, testing, vaguely testing, I guess, well, All Might decides to, instead of wait for a second, give Bakugo a plus, instead, he gives him an F, a F minus, to be more specific. So when Bakugo was given that grade, he starts screaming profanities even a sailor would never do. So yeah, he was, not expelled, more like given detention for that. Wait for a second. So after getting brought to detention, everybody starts leaving, going home. So after Melissa goes back home, well, apparently her father is now, dating. He's now dating, well, Izuku's mother. Yeah. So, because, if Izuku was still alive, that would mean that both Melissa and Izuku would become, siblings. Because Izuku's now dead, she still gets constant reminders of, Izuku's death from, well, Izuku's mother. Inko says this. Oh, how's your day, honey? As not Izuku, I meant, Melissa says this. Oh, hi, Inko. As Inko says this. Um, you don't really need to call me Inko or Aunt Inko. You can just call me Mother. As she says this. Sorry, but I'm still pretty sad about Izuku. As she says this. Don't worry about it. You don't really need to be sad about that. Izuku's probably happier in his new life in heaven. I meant heaven. As she says this. I guess you're right. Huh. As Melissa's father arrives, as he says this. Hey Inko, is dinner ready? As she says this. Oh, yeah, honey. She was, forgiving and gives everybody, their favorite snack or dinner. As Melissa says this to her father. Wait, Dad, are you okay? You look like you're stressed. As, David, Shield, sorry. I just been, my head. Ever since this, dispute has been happening, specifically about Izuku's death, several of these people started harassing me. So, yeah, that's why this is happening. I really need to get some sleep. Nico brings, him to their bedroom. Yeah. After that, she starts going back to her bedroom. Specifically, Melissa. I'm talking about Melissa. So, when Melissa goes back into her room contains some, weird looking items. Most of them are, items that, well, Inko gave as a memento for Izuku's death. There's Izuku's jacket right in her room, in her room's closet. And there's, a piece of, of notes that, Izuku was using to become, well, a hero someday. And another thing. There we go. And another thing, which is a picture of Izuku and her together as children. Like, maybe like 8. So, after seeing that picture, she starts crying, saying, "It's all my fault. If I weren't such a dunce, I could have saved you." She starts crying and crying. As she says this, "Don't worry. Maybe you could be happier in your brand new heavenly place or whatever." Alright, good night. So, she falls asleep. So, yeah, let's go back to Izuku and his army getting ready for the war. So, yeah. So, all of these special, well, battleship slash, well, gigantic, how do I say it, trucks or whatever, you started getting boarded by these several, well, berserkers, or specifically, Dragar berserkers. And Izuku also calls in for some special, well, air forces. Specifically, these air force type, group is basically, instead of, well, airplanes, instead they use dragons. And the ace pilot is now riding the remains of, of, what's his name? Nidhogg. So, the ace pilot says this. Commander, as Izuku says this. Okay, so, when we attack Midgard, we shall attack really swiftly. Kill anybody that has a quirk. Those that are quirkless, bring them into our kingdom. We shall call them our brand new citizens. Those that have quirks, kill them all. I want them to suffer slowly. As the ace pilot says this. Yes, sir. So, several of these soldiers started going into, gigantic, dreadnought class ship slash truck or whatever. So, while Izuku was basically running around telling all of these soldiers to do whatever they want, not really whatever they want, more like Izuku telling them to do what they really need to do, until Izuku was told by Loki to come to to the throne room. Izuku bows down and says this. What is it, Loki? As Loki says this. So, Izuku, I wanted to ask. Izuku says this. What is it, Loki? I was wondering, are you interested in my daughters? As Izuku says this. Um, um, why did you say that? As Loki says this. Well, 3 of my daughters specifically, well, Hela, Jormungandr, and Fenrir say that they're in love with you. So, which one do you choose? You can choose, well, either 3 or all 3. If you want to be, well, a bit daring, you could pick 3, like all 3 of them. Just make sure to not, let's make sure to not, overdo it tonight. Izuku kind of blushes a little bit as Izuku says, why are you... Uh, as Loki says this. You sound just like me back when I was, dating my... As Izuku says this. What's with the sudden change in tone? As he says this. Do you want to know what actually happened? The creation of my daughters? As Izuku says this. Sure. As he says this. Very well. Many years ago, before I actually betrayed, my father, Odin, I fell in love. But it was a love that shouldn't meant to be. I was in love with a ice giant. Her name is Signir. By the way, I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's either Signir or Signir. So I'm just gonna say Signir for now. So he says this. Many years ago, when I first fell my eyes on her, I was instantly, well, wait for a second, instantly struck in with love. Our union, well, our union actually made my daughters, Hela, Jormungandr, and Fenrir. The three disasters that are supposed to destroy the entire world in Ragnarok. But Ragnarok never came. Because Odin decided to defy fate. And decided to do something about it. And chained my children. And killed my wife in front of me. And then tortured me. Making me pay for what I have done. Paying for just love. I just wanted to love, but my father only wanted me to suffer. And my brother, my so-called brother, Thor, just stand there and just laughed. I hated them. And that is why I'm going to help you with your battle. Because I feel you. I feel what you felt. How you were treated in your past life. And that's why I gave you the status of a god. So you can feel something. The spark in your heart many years ago when you decided to try and become a hero. But that spark was broken because of that kid that you call Bakugou. So, how do you feel now? As Izuku says this, I didn't know that you actually... As he says this, don't worry. Now, let's start the battle. Or should I say the war? So, tell all of the troops to get ready. Because tomorrow shall be a brand new day. A day of war. A day where gunpowder shall be forever smelled across this land. Let blood stain the walls of all of our enemies' houses. Let their heads be the reminder that they should not, well, deal with us or fight us. They should accept us. As in accept, I mean tremble against us. Tremble and fear us. Because we are the brand new Aesir of this land. Of this entire world. And we shall rule it with an iron fist. Zuko agrees. So, this will be the end of the episode. So, this will be, well, where we hang off. So, yeah. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.